Very good evening to everyone. We are here with yet another session, and we are not here like for the general sessions. This session is conducted in such a way that the multiple points which we are going to practice in our clinical approach in the field of nutrition, in the perspective of nutrition, we can improve and learn how our practice should be. And today's session is conducted by none other than Christina from the Canada School of Naturopathic Medicine, Toronto, Canada. And I hope this session will be useful for not for me or our team, it will be useful for everyone who are there in Canada or India or everywhere in the world. So thank you, Christina, to come on our platform.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. It's nice to finally meet you. I know we were talking over WhatsApp, but yeah, it's nice to finally meet you. As Own Your Own Growth has mentioned, my name is Christina Appleton. I'm also known as Appleton Wellness on Instagram. And as mentioned previously, I am a second-year naturopathic medical student studying at the Canadian College of Naturopathic Medicine, also known as CCNM, which is situated in Toronto, Canada, Ontario. And before coming to CCNM, I also pursued a 4-year bachelor degree in molecular bio, immunology, disease, and neuroscience, which sounds like a lot of sciences, which it was, at U of T, University of Toronto, and I graduated in 2019. Throughout undergrad, I struggled to find a fulfilling career within the realm of health, as I felt that something was really missing. There was something that um, I couldn't pinpoint it. It was the integrative aspect to optimize patient health overall. And this feeling lingered with me until I stumbled upon a part-time job at a holistic center where I met chiropractors, naturopathic doctors, many massage therapists. And with this, I made it my goal to educate as many people as possible on the importance of naturopathic medicine within an integrative healthcare setting. And as I said before, I feel a key piece is missing within the healthcare system, and this is collaborative care, and I'm happy to be here. Before I start talking about the importance of nutrition and immunity, I would like to thank you guys, Own Your Growth, for having me here. I appreciate what you guys are doing in terms of creating a collaborative space by which people who come from different educational backgrounds with different experiences are able to share their knowledge on many different types of topics. And I'm just so happy to be here and that you guys created this type of platform. We are always learning from each other, not only within our practice, so for me, naturopathic medicine, but from other healthcare areas. And you guys also took it to the next level where you're connecting from different parts of the world. So that's amazing because there's just so much knowledge out there. And I already learned a lot, like watching your YouTube videos. I didn't even know that there was many different types of yoga techniques. So it's really good that I got to see that. Okay, let's dive into the topic of the importance of nutrition and how it ties into immunity. A question I always get from people is how is nutrition involved within the naturopathic realm or the naturopathic medicine practice, and why does this matter? So NDs, or naturopathic doctors, I'm just going to short form it so it's easier. So NDs have a lot of education and training with lifestyle counseling, and nutrition is one part of this type of counseling. And there's many different types of counseling. There's like stress management, there's exercise regime, there's psychological counseling. So nutrition is one part of that pillar. And actually, one of my colleagues who came on this platform before, Kirsten, has discussed some of the courses that we need to do to become NDs here in Canada, and nutrition is one of those courses. And specifically, when I think of nutrition and food, I think of more than just fueling our bodies. Our bodies are not machines, our bodies are not cars. Food nourishes us, it allows us to heal, it allows us to basically just feel good. However, I think nutrition is overlooked on because of the lack of education around it, and that's where NDs come in. We are here to educate our patients and counsel them on what is best for them. And nutrition counseling is very, very, very individualized because what may work for one person may not work for another. And as NDs, it's basically our job to create these individualized treatment plans. And another question you may ask is, why can a nutrition plan work for one person, but not work for another person? And this is because people have different metabolical processes, they have different thresholds on, let's say, nutrient absorption, and maybe there's different accessibilities to whole foods. And all of these can impact how an ND will construct a nutritional treatment plan. They all are very important. And another question you may ask is, well, what's the difference between, let's say, a naturopathic doctor giving nutritional counseling versus a nutritionist? And I don't know if in India you have nutritionists, but here in North America, we have nutritionists, we have dietitians. And the difference is that a great thing about being an ND is our unique supportive therapy. So while we are giving nutritional advice and possibly constructing a nutritional plan for our patients, we are able to use other modalities such as acupuncture, botanical medicine, so herbal medicines, homeopathic medicine, hydrotherapy, et cetera, as supportive treatments. So that's what's unique about us. And here in North America, we struggle with many different diseases such as hypertension, so high BP, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, heart disease, strokes, osteoporosis, weakened immunity, like the list goes on. There's so many, but conditions specifically such as hypertension, type 2 diabetes are preventable and even and reversible at the early stages. And this comes down to nutrition as the big factor. Big factor is nutrition. And research has even shown that chronic inflammation that is associated with like heart diseases, diabetes, cancers, arthritis, bowel diseases like ulcerative colitis. And in North America, we are surrounded with highly inflammatory foods, which are very cheap and so accessible. Like you walk down the street and there's like 3 different fast foods that we can choose from, which is so bad. So what can we do as a preventative measure? And it's simply just to eat whole foods. But it's not that simple, actually, and a lot of people have difficulties doing this. So what does eating whole foods even look like? And I'll give you a few tips. So number 1, buy fruits and vegetables in season. And what this means is try to purchase foods that grow in the summer and avoid purchasing them in the winter. And this is because like agricultural practices usually harvest foods prematurely if you're purchasing them in the winter. So they aren't as fully packed with nutrients and minerals and vitamins. So you're eating them prematurely, so they don't contain as much of the nutrition that would have been if you purchased them in the summertime, vice versa. Number 2 is try to buy locally. And what this means is you try to go to grocery stores that buy foods locally, or even if you go to farmers markets that grow their own foods, that's the best because they use less pesticides, they use less additives and preservatives for the food. So that's really good. You don't want to put those in your body. You want to decrease your toxic burden for your liver and all your other organs. Number 3, if you can try to buy organic food, try to do this, but I understand that this is not accessible for all people because organic food is actually expensive. In North America here, it's almost double the price than non-organic food. But I was listening to a podcast and there are a few research articles around the topic of poor soil quality affecting the nutrient content in our fruits and vegetables. This means that our fruits and vegetables may not be packed with as many micronutrients compared to 50 years ago because the soil quality has diminished, which is really sad to see because even if we are eating healthy, like for example, I'm eating broccoli, I'm eating salads, I'm eating, fruits in my salads, they actually may not be as packed with nutrients than 50 years ago. So it's important to think about this while eating whole foods, trying to eat whole foods. Number 4, if cost is affecting your ability to buy fresh foods and vegetables, there's usually a frozen section at your grocery stores that contain frozen fruits and vegetables that are actually cheaper than fresh fruits and vegetables. So if cost is a burden to you, maybe check that out, because eating, even if frozen doesn't contain as many nutrients as fresh, at least you are eating them rather than not eating them at all. 5, try to incorporate as many colorful fruits and vegetables as possible in your diet. And I made an Instagram post about this, if you want to check it out, on the importance of eating the rainbow. And what I mean by that is eating as many like red fruits or vegetables, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, because the colors actually contain different antioxidants, with antioxidant properties, which are beneficial in different health conditions. So for example, if I'm eating oranges like clementines and orange peppers, this can target things like eye health, which is really beneficial, or like carrots, they all target eye health because of the orange pigment. Number 6, in terms of inflammation, try to incorporate anti-inflammatory foods. I also made an Instagram post about this if you want to check it out. So basically some anti-inflammatory foods, they can include ginger, turmeric, omega fatty acids, nettle leaf, antioxidant rich foods. So as before, like eating colorful vegetables and fruit, and blue algae, also known as spirulina. I don't know if you guys have ever heard that over there, but in North America, we have it here, which is a good anti-inflammatory and antioxidant food. And the last point, number 7, try to minimize nutrient losses when cooking. I also have an Instagram post about that. So for example, keeping the skins on your potatoes, your yams, all that, that helps the moisture in the food stay in. And also you get fiber from the skins, which is good for your gut microbacteria, which I will talk about later on. So as we're on that topic now, it's a segue into how nutrition and immunity go hand in hand, stems into the topic of gut health. Gut health is so important, and a lot of people overlook this because they think, oh, it's just your stomach, it's just your intestines, whatever. But actually, did you know that our gut wall houses many cells that make up your immune system? Yeah, it's crazy. Like there's so much research behind it, and they even made like complex web maps about it, and it's so complex, it's so complicated, but it's amazing to see how the two systems link together. And I'll dive into that topic a little bit. I won't speak too much about it because it's very complicated. So the immune system and the gut microflora develop a mutualistic relationship. So they go hand in hand, and they regulate one another and incorporate to support each other. So they support protective responses against pathogens. They promote tolerance to harmless microbiomes and their products. They maintain self-tolerance. So the ability of our immune system to not react harmfully to our own healthy cells, which would cause an immune dysregulation, which is really bad. The mechanism is very complex, like I said before, and it's very long, so I'm not going to go into it, but all you need to take away from the importance is good bacteria in our gut. So that's all you have to know is there are good bacteria in our gut, and it's important. We need them, so we need to support the good bacteria in our gut. So yeah, here's some tips to support the good bacteria in our gut by eating well. So number 1, eat fiber. So they're called oligosaccharides, and they're also known as prebiotics. So there's a difference between prebiotics and probiotics. So prebiotics are the fuel for your good bacteria, and the probiotics are actually you're consuming good bacteria and to propagate in your gut. So if you already have enough good bacteria in your gut, you want to fuel them. So you want to eat fiber. So for example, you want to eat fermented foods, kimchi. You want to eat pickled stuff. Pickled radishes is one of my favorites. I love it. You want to ensure you're eating like oatmeal. You want to ensure you're eating flax seeds, different nuts and seeds, anything that has like a hard shell around it. That's so important for your gut bacteria. And number 2, you want to eat immune supporting foods. So I made a post about this on my Instagram. So these include bone broth soup. So that contains lots of collagen and amino acids that are essential. You can eat garlic, turmeric again. Turmeric is really good. Turmeric, as I mentioned before, it is an anti-inflammatory, and now it's an immune supporting food because they go hand in hand. Also bell peppers, so like red bell peppers, orange bell peppers, yellow. And as I mentioned before, fermented foods, so like kimchi, kombucha. I don't know if you have, I guess, yeah, kombucha there for sure. Mushrooms, ginger, lemon, and elderberry. These are all immune supporting foods. It's really good. And I think immunity is a perfect topic to discuss because in North America, we are getting into flu and cold season, which is the beginning of the winter season. So it's important to be preventative and support your immune system in advance. And this includes eating nutritious and supportive foods that I mentioned previously. If you have any other questions regarding like nutrition or immunity, contact me, and I'm sure that you guys have questions as well. So thank you so much. I hope that helped.
Thank you so much, Christina. This is Azuma here, and I'm very sorry for the delay to join the meeting. I really went through your Instagram profile yesterday, and I should say it was really good. And about the point where you're talking about to eat this rainbow, it was perfect because your caption was like Skittles kind of had the right idea. That was like, yeah, we
Yeah,
don't uh, at India it's not in the same name, but similar products also exist here. So I guess people can totally relate to the idea here also. And people who are watching this after this gets uploaded, you know, her posts are really really good, so you guys should really check out. They are very simple for general public to understand, not in the scientific cheesy terms. Really very good. Okay. I have a question. Okay, so
yeah.
it goes like, tell us how diet patterns are there in the place you are staying. How people, what are people's preferences like?
Like the diet here in North America.
Yes.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, I'm not trying to like oversimplify it, but a lot of people, since in North America and a lot of places around the world, everyone's busy, everyone's working, especially working from home now. They don't really have time, maybe, well, maybe they have more time now, but before they don't have time to cook. And that's a big problem because people are faced with going out to eat like fast foods. And as before, as I talked about, fast foods filled with inflammatory processes that will inflame parts of your body. It will inflame your stomach. It will, from a traditional Chinese medicine point of view, it will irritate like the spleen, the stomach, and then those will irritate the heart, the kidney, all the other organs. So I feel like a lot of people turn to that for convenience, fast food for convenience, and it's also really cheap and it's accessible everywhere. And it's a really big problem here in North America because that is one of the root causes to why hypertension, why obesity, why diabetes type 2 is on the rise here. And I feel like a lot of people just need more education around it and just more accessibility to these foods, like making home cooked meals and just eating more greens and colorful vegetables and fruits, as I mentioned before. So I hope that in the future, that will change a little bit more, but right now it's still on the side of where people are still continuing to eat fast food on an everyday basis, which is unfortunate.
Okay. So when people are trying to shift to healthy food practices, what do you think are the like you did cover some of it, and I would like to know like what are the practical difficulties for people like who you face daily, and tell us why it is important to know from the patient's perspective of their practical difficulties.
That's a really good question. Yes. Accessibility to healthy foods is a really big problem here. In certain communities in Toronto, um, the way that the community is set up. So we noticed that a lot of low poverty or low income communities, they don't have good, wholesome grocery stores. They're surrounded by, again, fast foods. They don't have access to fruits and vegetables, and that's a very big barrier to health, because if they don't have access to these, how are they able to treat the root cause to some of their health conditions? So a lot of people that I talk to, that's the reason why they don't buy organic foods, because first off, it's so expensive. Second off, there's not enough grocery stores in some of the communities that offer this, let alone like offer good quality fruits and vegetables. And I've been talking to people, sometimes the fruits and vegetables offered in their grocery stores are rotting, or they're not ripe enough. They're like prematurely picked, as previously discussed. So even if they are purchasing them, they're not good quality, and it's still very harmful for their gut and their gut microflora. So that is one of the biggest barriers here in North America, is food quality and food accessibility for lower income populations.
So you touched this topic of food accessibility. Would you like to talk a little about Indigenous health knowledge and why there's a gap?
Yeah, that's also a really good question. Yeah, Indigenous health for sure. Like years and years and years, I just feel like nothing has changed in regards to paying attention to Indigenous health and what they require. And Indigenous health is one of the big populations that do not have good or even accessibility to food, to wholesome food. I don't know what it is. It's it's a very complex topic, because it has to be targeted from other corporations
Social
as well.
perspective as well,
Exactly.
right?
Social aspect has to be from government, higher than government perspectives. It has to be collaborative as well, because even if me as a naturopathic student or I know lots of naturopathic students that are interested in helping the Indigenous communities, while this is obviously positive, we need to be more collaborative. And it's good that you mentioned this as a question, because it just raises awareness of, it's not only our community, it's elsewhere. And in North America, like especially up north, a lot of the Indigenous communities are really, really affected in terms of food insecurity. And in order to do this, I think we as what you're doing on this platform is amazing, is keeping to reach out, talk to other people around the world, also other healthcare providers and different educational backgrounds, and just educate each other and just keep increasing awareness, because that's the only thing that we can do, is be more collaborative in order to be stronger to help different communities.
Totally. That's actually right. Okay. Tell us more about your naturopathic education at CCN. How is it going?
Yeah, thanks for asking. Yeah, it's been really, really fun so far. I'm in second year, and I do feel a huge difference between first year. So first year, we learned a lot of our basic courses, so a lot of biomedical integration, so like biochemistry, anatomy, all those basic courses, and a little bit of our modalities, so traditional Chinese medicine. We had an intro to that, which was eye-opening, because I had no idea what that was until I came into the program. It's such a different and unique way of thinking about health, which I love. I just love their ideologies behind health and how to treat the whole patient. What else did we do? We did hydrotherapy and massage, which was great. It's great to like dip our toes into different aspects of health. And then second year, I find it more clinically different. So we're learning different diagnoses, like for example, skin conditions, different ear issues, respiratory issues, chest pain and all that. But we are still learning and learning more about our modalities. So more acupuncture points for traditional Chinese medicine, more herbal botanical medicines. It's really great. And what's great is that we're doing live cases in each class to get a more hands-on kind of approach to how we may be faced with these situations in practice. So we're kind of integrating everything, which I love. I feel more like a doctor.
Like, so have you started the shadowing that you people do? Tell
Yeah.
us more about that.
Yeah, for sure. So because of COVID, we aren't allowed to shadow in person, as you may know. So, but they obviously want us to get our hours still because it's super important to be shadowing and learning from supervisors and fourth year interns. So what they did is that we have different platforms. We don't use Zoom. We use like either Teams for a phone call meeting or more secure platforms like DoxyMe. And basically, what the supervisor does is that we get it onto the phone call and we listen. And obviously, the patient knows that we're on in the phone call or a video call. And we just basically sit and we watch how the supervisor interacts, how the intake process goes with each supervisor. And yeah, I've shadowed a few sessions now, for sure more than 6, 7, 8. And they also require us to do our own shadowing from a naturopathic doctor. So we need like, I think at least 50 hours. And then we need 50 hours from someone other than a naturopathic doctor. So I chose a chiropractor because I work at a holistic center, and I've been shadowing because I've been working there for a few years now. So I asked her, I'm like, can I shadow you a little bit just to get my hours? So that's what I've been doing for a few months. So I'm collecting my hours in that way. It's really fun. It's great to see how different healthcare practitioners do an intake and how they treat the patient whole overall. It's amazing.
That's lovely. Okay. So I guess we have come to the end of the session. So, some of your parting thoughts.
Yes. Again, as I want to reiterate, thank you so much, Own Your Growth, for having me. I think keep up what you're doing. I think learning from each other from around the world is probably the best way that we get our knowledge out there. And I had so much fun sharing my knowledge about nutrition and immunity in naturopathic medicine. And I hope that some people take away the knowledge from this session and apply it in real life, because nutrition is something so simple and so preventative in many health conditions that once you get a good health nutrition regime going, a lot of the conditions may be preventable that you may be faced if you didn't eat whole foods. So I hope that everyone can take at least one thing from the session: eat the rainbow. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Christina, for this wonderful session. And it's a must that people should obviously check out your Instagram handle at Appleton Wellness, because that's a wonderful way of letting people, like for medical students, to know how simple health education should be. Thank you so much. And I'm going to read out the inflammation post after this session is over. Thank you so much for this session, giving us an opportunity to have a look over your views. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I had so much fun.